Hey guys, welcome back to the Unity Podcast, episode 8, part 2. I said I'd be back, and I am. Um, so, if you're just tuning in, I just want to say PSA really quick. Social distancing, 6 feet, that is a must. Please do not go out. Don't go out. Stay home. Because that is how we will save everybody. Stay home. You can go for walks um, to the park or wherever, somewhere close, but don't go in groups. Don't touch each other. Don't touch metal railings. Nothing like that. Another thing is you want to do exercise because that increases that increases your immune system, and the sunlight increases vitamin D. And vitamin D activates T cells, which are essential to your immune system. And exercise also activates your immune system, so you need to do that too. At least 30 minutes a day. Anyway, just had to mention that. Oh, and please don't come here to Hawaii. You can't now, really, because our governor just pretty much locked everything down. If you are coming here for whatever the fucking reason, you have to be in quarantine for 14 days. If you breach that, there's a $5,000 fine the first time around. If you try to breach it again, you're going to jail for a year. So stay away. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna bring Eliza, Nashay, Aaron on right now. They're waiting on the phone, so yeah.
Or cold or flu when it's not. It's because the flu, because they were talking about what the CDC was talking about, the flu kills, I think it's like 0.3 or something like that. Now the COVID-19 is up to like 1% with the death rate. So, I mean, and it's in a shorter amount of time, too, that over, versus the flu and COVID-19 being in a shorter amount of time. So, I mean, they just think that, oh, yeah, we know what's going on, but they think it's just another flu when it's completely different.
I just started, Eliza. In case you were wondering, I see you in the live chat.
Okay. Yeah. I just checked it because I wasn't sure if you were recording when you started, but we've been having a good conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation that I think should have been broadcasted, but
yeah,
we can continue. Going back to us talking about how people, I was talking about how, okay, going back. I have known about this for a very long time. I've been aware and cautious and worried about it since January, early February, and since then. And it's unfolded into this thing that's on our lap right now. But in that time, I sort of went back and forth with, it comes in waves of like panicking and feeling you're going to be okay and panicking again. I don't think that's going to stop. But it's also a good place to be. You should be afraid. This is a very serious situation. But yeah, so I was feeling all right. I felt like I had enough food for, a few weeks and supplies. But I did need to go to the pharmacy to just get, like, I don't know, water, whatever, general stuff, pointers. And I went to go check it out today because yesterday I went around my neighborhood and went to my neighborhood, like, popular Trader Joe's. And there was a line around the block, like wrapped around the block. And everyone was standing on line, was very close to each other. And so not only did I not want to stand on line for I don't know how long, but I didn't want to, like, stand with a crowd of people. So I couldn't get the groceries that I wanted to get. And I went to another smaller grocery store, and they didn't have everything I needed. So I managed to get some at this other one. And then today, I went out because there was a farmer's market, which I thought, and it is, I think, a very safe place to buy things. You're outside. There's minimal people working with the material, and also as vendors, there's a very small amount of people. So I got my eggs there, and then I went to my local pharmacy to get some other grocery items. Dwayne Reed has like pharmacy stuff and grocery items. And I went there afterwards, and I had been going there periodically, just because it's close by and it has necessities. And today, though, was different. Today, they put out like a minimum amount of people rule, where there would only be 10 people in the store at a time, 10 customers. And that was like definitely different. And with all of my like being informed and being aware of the situation, I think it's finally like settling in with people, or at least it should, that this is not a casual. I was thinking with all my panic before this, before people took drastic action, that this was kind of so casual, and now it's not. Now they're telling parents to keep their kids away from other kids if they're in a playground. They're telling parents also, if those kids are in the playground, know that the playground itself is not clean. They can't. New York City cannot afford people and time and stuff to clean these playgrounds every 5 minutes, which makes sense. So they were like, you're on your own with that. You decide what you want to open your kids to. So it's becoming very in our life, which I think is important. But also, when I went to Dwayne Reed, I realized, like, I just showed up there as a line was forming, but everyone that came on the line after I saw were like mid-20s, early 20s, something like that, just casually going to the pharmacy. And I think we all felt and realized that this stuff's changing, and this is,
Well,
different.
I do want to say though again that you know, we should be mentioning the positives here, because there's a lot of people that are afraid right now, and yes, it is serious. But the good news is, guys, again, I mentioned this before on part 1, but there are doctors out there that are putting out videos on YouTube, since, you know, you can't really give like keynote speeches or TED Talks, things like that anymore. But like one of the doctors by the name of, you can look him up on YouTube, Dr. Berg. He does a lot of really helpful, in-depth videos explaining the nature of the virus and things like that. But these doctors are all mentioning the same things, and it's that vitamin C, vitamin D, and fortifying your immune system can actually fight off the virus. So you take that, okay, you can fight it. Contracting it is not going to be a death sentence for a lot of us. But you know, you need to be somewhat active. I've been taking walks for like 30 minutes. It feels great. The sun gives you vitamin D, and the vitamin D activates T cells, and T cells are absolutely essential in fighting off viral infections and bacteria. And being active also activates your immune system. So, you know, 30 minutes, be positive. This is not an end of the world scenario. All right, this is just a bump in the road, and it's a bump that we're all gonna move over. Trust me.
And what we're talking about is necessary.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's
I'm sorry.
necessary
What was
for
that?
us to be. What I like the whole standing in line and realizing that things are changing. Like that's necessary. It's not saying that it's the end of the world, but it's saying like be cautious.
Yeah. Well, that also, I mean, that has to do with social distancing, which everyone needs to be practicing right now. 6 feet away from each other. Don't be in groups. Because really, I mean, the goal here is, right, we want to get through this as fast as possible. So do your part. Follow the guidelines. If you are in a state where, maybe, unfortunately, your state leaders are not, not being competent, take it upon yourself. Tell your loved ones, tell your friends, urge them to follow instructions set out by the World Health Organization and the CDC, because that will ease the strain on the healthcare system. And these folks need all the help they can get right now. So we're staying at home for them and for, our families and our friends' families. That's all that's being asked from us is stay home.
And they're trying so hard to ask us to just do the right thing. And they can only do so much, so we have to pick up that slack and do the right thing.
Yeah. But honestly, guys, just, stay home, do some workouts, whatever you can. You can still go for a walk. 30 minutes, shoot for that, and you'll feel better.
If you don't understand what's happening, look online, Google it, look up some local papers or the news like CNN or
Just I know Facebook too. I don't know if this is done for everyone. Facebook has a thing on mine where if you need to be updated about the most recent news, if you go to your homepage on Facebook on your mobile app, it actually has a button that you can click now that says, updates about the COVID virus and things that they're saying now. Are you guys seeing that on your apps too?
It's on the desktop under Explore. It says COVID-19 information. But also, when you're looking up information, please be sure it's from reputable sources.
Yeah, don't let it shove you in the face. Go seek it out. Be informed. Don't be ignorant. There's a lot of ignorance going on. We were talking about these people having weddings and stuff, and I understand people have lives and we have events that are monumental. We have all sorts of situations. My friend just gave birth. People are getting married. Spring is a huge season for birthdays. I get it. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
So this is very important.
Yeah, life will go on, guys. I mean, so real quick, I just wanted to give you guys some resources in terms of the doctors that are talking about vitamins, vitamin D, fortifying your immune system, and how you can fight off the virus. Check out Dr. Pradeep Seth. You can find him on, there's a channel called The Right Doctors. And he worked in virology, and he talks about how vitamin C can protect you from the coronavirus. And then Dr. John Campbell made a video about vitamin D and immunity. Dr. Mike Hansen is another channel you should check out, talking about vitamin D, vitamin C, And I mentioned to Dr. Berg and Doc Khan is another guy to check out. So
Question.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
How do you get vitamin D when you don't have sunshine?
So there are foods that do contain vitamin D. The foods that you really want to have are dark, like leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, if you got like arugula or chard, and they did a video talking about a lot of these foods. So you can get them from foods. You don't necessarily have to have sun, but you also don't want to be having things like foods that I think, unfortunately, most of us did go out and buy. I didn't, but you don't want to have foods. Yeah, you don't want to have foods like pastas, canned things like that. You want to have as much. Go ahead.
I just know for me personally, being on a limited income and not having any help, there's only, I can't afford a lot of the better foods, because just what I buy a month, I'm barely able to buy what I can for groceries. So I understand, that it is important to eat healthy and stuff, but a lot of us aren't able to afford it.
Gotcha.
So
you can't buy
we
the
do
food.
Yeah. But I was just going to say that if you can't afford this stuff, don't feel bad. It's not your fault. We do what we can.
Right.
I personally have vitamin D tablets. I do get them as a prescription from my doctor, and I know not everyone is able to afford that. But so two sides, if you do have health insurance and you need vitamin D, ask a doctor for a prescription, because most likely a prescription for it will generally cost less than buying it over the counter. If you do have to buy it over the counter, look up GoodRx, GOODRX, like prescription, and they have amazing coupons on there that can make it a lot more affordable for you. So I personally take it's 50,000. I don't remember the measurement that they use. I think it's IUC or something like that. And they're just these little gel tablets that I take. I know they do have them in the vitamin aisle too. But honestly, you guys, like right now, it's not like you have to eat extra of this or eat extra of that. Just keep in mind your regular balanced diet. It's great if you can add certain things back in there. It's a little bit extra to boost your immune system. But you don't have to go out and buy all these brand new things, especially if you're normally a fairly healthy person.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to try to add some more fruits and veggies in there versus more carbs if you can. It's not going to make a huge difference either way. There is actually a study that shows our body, when we take like extra vitamins, like pill vitamins and things like that, our body really only absorbs like about 30% of them. And so it is always best to get your vitamins from fruits and vegetables if you can.
These are facts. You will pee out most of the vitamins you take in if you're taking supplements. If your body doesn't need it, you're going to pee it out. But multivitamins are available, and they're not crazy expensive. You can get multivitamins for like $10, $15, something around that.
Mm-hmm.
And that should also like help you out. But yes, keep in mind, just be generally healthy.
Yeah. And zinc has actually been showing some promising results for other countries that have also been affected by coronavirus, and they found that zinc can create like a barrier, can strengthen the barrier of the cell and prevents the virus from affecting the cell. So
Yeah.
zinc is important too. Horseradish, I believe, is rich in that. Turmeric, elderberry is really good for you too. Aaron, I know you're saying that you're taking that.
Yeah, elderberry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elderberry could definitely be really one of those expensive ones too.
It's got vitamin C and zinc in it, which I was able to find because I know Sambucol is the ones that was the name brand, but I was able to find the emergency and the airborne they had a huge bottle of the elderberry that's the same ingredients, and it was a bigger bottle, more gummies, and it was cheaper than the Sambucol. So the things are out there. You just have to look for them. But elderberry was great.
I had no idea elderberry was great. I love it. It tastes so good in tea. It's like a very sweet, lovely.
It's a very, very good tasting. Yeah.
And the other thing too is that if you have green tea actually activates the zinc ions. So green tea is really amazing for you. Plus, it's rich in antioxidants.
But it also has caffeine in it, which my body can't take.
Mm-hmm.
There is decaf green tea, which is a little bit harder to find because I can't do caffeine at all. So there are a couple of them. They don't taste as great, and it's definitely not as natural when you do that. So again, guys, just
properties, like the beneficial properties, might not be the same as
exactly. Yeah, and definitely like all these different health studies that come out. And Sam is actually really good at getting the good resources, getting it from a good source and everything. But when it comes down to it, like, your body the best. It's not something, these lists that we see, like top 10 things, foods to eat this time, may not work for you, and you might have food sensitivities. So just adjust it as you need to. So I love chamomile tea right now. And I actually just got a new one it's an organic chamomile with lavender. And oh my goodness, it tastes so good. And lavender's good at calming people down. So it's just kind of what works for you guys. Don't think you have to follow us to an exact science. It's just, what helps you and what calms you down personally.
Because I personally, I don't like tea.
Yeah, my husband doesn't either. He hates tea.
I can't. For some reason, tea and coffee make me more thirsty, and I can't with tea, especially.
Mm.
So I don't really drink yet, but I do the multivitamin, the elderberry. So I mean, it's just whatever works best for you, like you were saying.
Also, this is like a cold or a flu. You would fight it the same way. So whatever home remedy you have and works for your body would probably work for this.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, it's the same as like a pumped up on steroids pneumonia, which is definitely scary, which this is. You shouldn't take it lightly. But yeah, so if you have like a home remedy, I know a lot of people that I know love to freebase garlic, which is very good. Garlic is amazing. It is so stinky and strong, it seeps into your whole body and it just like pushes out all the toxins. It's amazing.
Yep.
But it's very difficult to take a shot of garlic. If you can do that, you are superhuman.
Also, ginger is really good at aiding with symptoms. and also good for your digestion to flush you out. So if you've got ginger on hand, use some of that.
Highly suggest pre-basting ginger and garlic at the same time. Just get it over with. Chuck it down.
Yeah.
And you'll be golden. Yeah.
Also, nuts have zinc within them, like I think almonds. So, just another real quick thing for any of you that are tuning in or haven't heard. I did mention this in my previous, the one before the one I just did earlier, but there is some news out of Harvard University that says the number. So for one, it says most people with COVID-19 recover. Estimates now suggest that 99% of people infected with the virus that causes COVID-19 will recover. Some people have no symptoms at all, and while thousands of people have died, keep in mind too, guys, the people who have died are the people who had previous or underlying illnesses. And, you keep yourself healthy, you keep your families healthy, you'll be fine. It's just like Italy, I just read earlier that Italy said that 99% of its cases where people have died, it's because those people already had underlying illnesses.
Those numbers are so scary.
Yeah, but, again, if you're healthy, if you're on top of it, if you're being active and bolstering your immune system, you'll be okay. So like here, it's according to Harvard University, it says, and while thousands of people have died, the overall death rate is about 1% or perhaps even lower, far less than MERS, which is the Middle East respiratory syndrome, which is about 34%, and SARS, which is about 11%, or Ebola, which is still at 90%. So, but it is...
and something else, too... Sorry, Sam, go finish. I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
I didn't get that. You're saying it's less violent than these things that you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the
No.
It says it is higher than the seasonal flu, because the seasonal flu is at 0.1%. This is at 1%. But compared to what MERS is and what SARS is, and especially Ebola, which is 90%. I mean, this is, we'll get through this. So.
And something too, you guys, when you're hearing in the news these different cases of people that are dying from this, just to put it in perspective, like, think about drunk driving incidents on any time of the year, no matter what, just, weekends, whatever. Think about this. You don't hear of the thousands of people that get home safe every weekend from the bars. What you do hear are the one or two accidents that happen because of drunk driving. So think about that analogy. Like, you're not going to hear of all the success cases because it far, far, far outweighs the unsuccessful cases. The news isn't going to always report to you, the thousands and millions of people that are surviving this. You are unfortunately going to hear more of the special cases, the rare cases where someone does not make it. And that's with any statistic, drunk driving or drug use or anything going on with the news. You're not going to hear, like, same with cancer patients. You know what I mean? Like, you hear of the thousands of people that have died from certain cancers, but you don't hear about the millions of people that have beat it as well. So just think about that with the media, you guys. Like, you're not going to get the full story all the time, and it doesn't matter how good of a source it is. It's just they're too big of numbers to give out to you, and when you get handed like a bunch of big numbers, people can't comprehend that. But what people can comprehend are smaller numbers and something disastrous and something to the point.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately what gets reported.
Yeah, when they see big numbers, like I've said before, the media is talking about cases. And when you hear constantly, you hear, okay, there's 20 new cases, and for example, I'm not saying that there is, but for example, let's say there's 20 new cases in Ohio, or there's 30 new cases in Toronto, whatever. Those are cases that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are going to die. So, while the cases are going up, and we expected that when, we started rolling out more testing for more people, we expected that the number was going to go up. But the rate of recovery has also gone up. It's now close to 100,000 people that have recovered. So that's far out, outpacing the amount of people who are dying. So,
and legally, they do have to legally tell the CDC if they have someone that has tested positive. However, they do not legally have to tell the CDC once someone has beat the virus. So just think about that too. Legally, they have to tell them if someone tests positive, but there's absolutely no law that forces people to tell them that someone is cured from it. Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing too.
Yeah, and we just want to, we want to set the record straight here. None of us are trying to say that, you should go outside and feel invincible now and hang out with your buddies because you're in the lower age bracket. You're like in your 20s or maybe your Generation Z. We're not telling you to go and do that because while it is true that our age bracket is fighting this off pretty much perfectly well, again, elders, people who have underlying health conditions, are not able to do so. So there's cause to be positive, but you should also assume that you might give it to someone else and not know. So that's why staying home is important. If you're gonna go to the grocery store, you should only do it once a week. At least here in Hawaii, that's what they're saying. Our governor is saying once a week, go to the store, and only get the essentials, stuff that you need. Avoid physical contact with as many, just basically with anybody. 6 feet. But, those numbers should be, reassuring. So try not to freak out. I'm feeling better. The last couple of days, I've mentioned before, last couple of days I've had anxiety attacks. And I know that there are a lot of people like us out there that are having anxiety attacks right now. But, the thing is, we're all in the same boat. And for the first time in this century, we are a global community. We are one global community dealing with the same thing. And that, when you think about that, that is in a way beautiful, because you should feel connected more than ever to your fellow human being. because we're all fighting the same battle. And I'll just say what's helped me, might be different for you guys, but what's helped me is going for walks. I love the sun now. So I've been enjoying it. Yeah, because I've always loved rain. But now, the sun feels great. It releases endorphins, and in fact today, I think I got up around 10. No, actually I got up earlier. I got up around 9. But we went for a walk to the park, and we meditated there. And I know not everyone meditates or knows how, but meditation really calmed me down, really, really pulled me in center. And I'm enjoying. I wake up, I go outside on the lanai, which is a porch for you folks on the mainland. And I've been enjoying, watching the trees, watching the birds, feeling the sun, feeling the breeze. Fresh air is super important. Fresh air is really important. So when
some of us don't live in Hawaii, Sammy.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if you can, wherever you are, if you can step outside or maybe crack open a window, something like that, just get some fresh air in you. That's really important. And you don't have to go outside to meditate. You can meditate at home. There are a lot of good guided meditations. I said before on another podcast, you go to YouTube and you look up Mooji, Mooji. He's fantastic. Russell Brand, interestingly enough, has been doing a lot of meditation exercises. Or if you want, if it helps you, put on some music. That can be your meditation.
I personally, as much as I like going for fresh air, I know fresh air is important, like crack open a window, like Sam said. I personally spent $60 at Michael's, and I am stocked up on my craft projects. So that's what's going to calm me down the next couple of weeks is painting cute little bunny faces for Easter decorations, because who doesn't like crafting once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, basically whatever gives you therapy. Whatever helps you feel calm. That's what you should do, because it'll help. And exercise is important.
I don't want to break the calm, but we do have to be alert. And I also don't like to sort of put myself in other people's position. I don't want to comment for other people in this or say that I have it all together more than anyone else. We're all struggling. This is difficult. This shouldn't be easy. If it's easy, you're not doing something right. But also, the SARS cases are actually less than the coronavirus cases. SARS is less, but Ebola and Hep, or what you said, is above it. But no, this shouldn't be taken not lightly. But you should also not panic, because panicking doesn't solve anything. It doesn't actually do anything. It causes a lot of disruption and a lot of pain, and that's something that we should stay away from. It's not beneficial. We should be aware, and we should, I don't know, we're all in the same physicians. So if you're feeling some type of way, I'm sure that a friend of yours or a family member is feeling the same type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Just connect and talk about it. How are you guys feeling today? Is it different than a couple days ago?
For me, it's I feel totally different than I did a couple of days ago. Like I said, I feel more at center. I'm taking it one day at a time, but I'm enjoying being, in the moment. And
you're appreciating the moment. You're appreciating what you have.
Yeah, and I also, I'm telling myself that because I feel that it's true that all of us are going to come out of this.
Absolutely.
And the rules are really easy to follow. So if you follow the rules, you'll be fine. But I'm compared to how I was like when I first started these episodes. I'm doing good.
Yeah, what number is this? When did we begin? Do you have these on recording? Because things have changed in the past few days.
Yeah, we're on 8 now. We're on episode 8. This is actually part 2 of episode 8 because I did a brief thing earlier with Aaron. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm just doing my smoothies, staying healthy like everyone else should be.
Do you guys know anyone who's sick by any chance?
No.
Or maybe you're too far.
Well,
I don't know. I'm starting to hear people being sick. I don't know. I just get worried.
So my dad actually tested positive.
Oh, how is he doing?
And he's okay, actually. And I do have a friend in Arizona who also tested positive.
That's happening. That's reality. And
it is.
Is that sentence?
No, and so my dad will be 66 later this year. And growing up, he was a very active guy. He was in all the sports and that kind of stuff. And now, so like just for reference, my dad looks kind of like Santa Claus. He plays a very good Santa Claus every Christmas. He's a tall, chonky guy with, baseball mitts for hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always super tough, you know what I mean? And he used to be, I know this is so weird, so he was a railroad engineer for over 40 years, and before that he was actually a massage therapist. So he has very different backgrounds of different jobs and whatnot.
Wow.
But so he was, growing up, if we ever got sick, he was like, go eat some garlic and go gargle some salt water. He was very into like the home remedies and the Eastern medicine,
Mm-hmm.
But he also understands, modern science and that kind of stuff. And so him and his wife both have it. They got it. He's a Freemason, so he got it from a Mason's meeting.
Whoa, that's everywhere.
Yeah, and he's in Wyoming. But
the Masons meet all the time, and it's across the nation. Or, I don't know, plural?
Oh, no. So this was just like they're meeting in the town, not like from other cities or anything. Yeah, no. But he's been sick for about a week, and they finally tested him because they're like, well, you just have a flu. That's all it is. And that's still it is. It is a flu. He has some really good doctors that they were my doctors when I lived in Sheridan. And they're like, go home and They gave him some nebulizer treatments. I don't know if you guys know what those are. They're just like these little breathing treatments.
Breathing?
You get, yeah, breathing treatments. So you,
my mom
it looks,
when she has a nebulizer at home that she uses with dual neb medicine.
yeah. And so it looks like it looks kind of like a humidifier with a tube on it that you breathe in and out that has a medication that opens up your lungs. And so he does that 3 times a day, and he says that helps a lot. They also gave him an inhaler just in case, and he's doing pretty good, guys. And then my friend, she worked at a assisted living facility with the elderly,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily only one other person got it, and she worked one-on-one with one of her patients that had it. And that's why she caught it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the same thing. She says it feels like the flu. And, sorry, what was that?
Because she's a health worker, is she now out of the field?
Yeah, so she is on a 14-day quarantine, yes. Which is standard for anyone that tests positive. They have a mandatory 2-week quarantine.
But she didn't have to test positive. Someone close to her tested positive, so she took herself out, or did they recommend she leave?
So in all assisted living facilities, so any type of senior home or senior care, if you have a fever that is above 100.4, you can't come into work. And the threshold for the virus is actually 101.2, and up from there. And so in order to be tested, you have to have a consistent fever of above 101.2. Earlier this week, her fever was 100.4, so she chose to stay home. And so she's actually been sick for almost a week now. And her fever increased, so she did go to the hospital, and so she hasn't been at work since she had even the smallest fever, and no one else in that home of 60 patients no one else is showing symptoms. So that's really good. That means that really hopefully no one else got it.
Like how they're regulating the temperature. I just talked to my friend who I told you a couple days ago was told in her building by her doorman that someone in her building was sick and claimed to think she had the virus. And now my friend who is the preschool teacher was telling me a couple days ago that she wasn't feeling so well, but it was more mucusy. It didn't seem like anything that related to this. But she's checking her temperature, and it is above average, but it's not crazy. So it's good to know what to look for. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's something else to keep in mind too, is we are still in the middle of flu season. And that's, that makes it that much harder to differentiate who has what. But if she's feeling more mucusy, obviously I don't think that would count, because it is supposed to be like a dry cough and chest pain. And I asked my dad too, because he said he also felt a little mucusy in the beginning, but he also has allergies, so it's kind of hard to tell. But he said it wasn't like a significant difference from any other flu that he's had before. He said that, the chest pain was noticeable for the first couple of days. But outside of that, it's just a dry cough and feeling yucky, for lack of a better word. And so it's just, it's a case-by-case thing, but it's just to keep in mind, there are different thresholds, so pay attention to your fever. If it's above that 101.2, then definitely, look into just calling your doctor first and asking them. Don't just show up at the hospital or urgent care or anything like that. And definitely try to take Tylenol first, because with the coronavirus, generally, even though you're taking a fever reducer, it won't help the fever. It won't get rid of it completely. It might lower it a little bit. But if you're taking the acetaminophen or Tylenol, those are the same things. Those are the fever reducers, and your fever is still not going down, then proceed to call your doctor and ask if you should come in. And guys, if you haven't been around anyone that has tested positive, most likely you are not going to have it. That's a huge, huge thing, and that's the problem that we're running into is these people, I shouldn't say these people, the people are staying indoors, and they're doing what they're supposed to. They're avoiding people, but because there's so much talk about this on the media, and it's really scaring people, the hypochondriac definitely plays a part in it. And also keeping in mind that we are still in flu season. So just, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
My friend who has this slight elevated temperature and who's a teacher who gets sick all the time because kids are little germ magnets.
Yeah.
And also lovely things. She is freaking out right now because when you think you're sick, our minds are immediately going to the one thing that's like the most in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to calm her down because I don't know if she's okay. The reality is, you might not be, and we have to think that way. So it's good to be cautious, but it's also good to know how to monitor yourself and what the kind of guidelines are.
And even if you look at worst case possible, worst case she does have it, and she's going to have to fight through it. I mean, that's kind of the whole point in my contact at the CDC, and I have a lot of friends that work at the university hospitals. Again, I just want to reiterate, this is just a flu. It's the same type of virus that would be going around right about now anyways, but because it did spread so quickly, and because it can be detrimental to people with prior health problems, this is the concern. So, like I said,
makes it through.
Yeah, and so we're not, like I said, we're not going to hear about the cases of people that are sick for a maximum of 5 days, and then they're back to being okay. Mm-hmm. And also, with little kids, like you said, your friend was a preschool teacher, most likely they have already had it, and you won't even know, because their little bodies are just able to fight through it. And so to me, that shows a really big deal, because I've had nieces and nephews that have gotten sick from the regular flu before, and they just, they're cranky, and all they want to do is sleep, and they're not eating. And yet with this one, we hardly will even know if they have it, because their little bodies are just good at fighting that stuff off. So I think definitely, I know it sounds weird, but to think in your mind like this is just a flu, I think that will calm people down, but they still don't want to be sick. So I think the combination of those two things will help.
That's such a realistic point of view. I think it's healthy to think that way. And I definitely don't want to diminish.
And I don't want to diminish other people that have severe anxiety about this. That's not what I'm trying to do.
No.
I'm just trying to reassure people that, okay, worst case, you have it. And then you just keep up on your fluids, you keep up on your Tylenol and acetaminophen, and you'll be okay.
That's why not every single person's going to hospital, because it's not that severe for most people.
Exactly. There's nothing that the hospital can do, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's equally as frustrating.
So the total amount of people recovered around the world is now 98,627.
And that's
just an official number, guys. That's not even the actual number that we know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, round up, and you're looking at some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, so, just keep healthy. And also, I want to say that's really important, I feel, is mental health. Your mental state at this time is probably just as important as your physical state.
Yeah.
Your mental state has been scientifically shown to affect your physical state. So again, if you're letting fear consume you, if you're panicking, everything in your body is going to be thrown off. Your immune system is not going to know what to do. Your brain is going to be focusing on fight or flight response, which will not allow it to actually detect infections. So it won't be able to fight off any infection. So you really, really want to do whatever you can to calm yourself, bring yourself back in. Say one thing that's been helping me is saying, we're dealing with this one day at a time. There are people out there that are working nonstop for us. And, I'm doing the best that I can. My mom's doing the best that she can. We're just chilling. We're hunkering down. We're chilling. We're relaxing. And think of it that way. The numbers that are being thrown out on the media are scary. I get that. When you hear, oh, there's 12,000 new deaths. Like, yes, but, that's number one, that's worldwide. And number two, like I just told you guys, the amount recovered. They're not really saying that. So keep that in mind. But still be on top of washing your hands and all that stuff. But, definitely your mental health is key in this too. So you want to try and calm yourself. Don't give in to panic. Don't give in to fear. A lot of people are in the same boat right now. And the sun is going to rise on all of us. That's what I feel. So focus on that. Is there any little anecdotes that you guys want to throw in or share?
I mean, I was going to make a joke that we're here for a good time, not a long time, but that might not be the best one. If you're doing all the good things you're supposed to be doing, then we're not going to be in quarantine as long, you guys. So that's kind of my attitude right now. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Wash your hands. Eat healthy.
Oh, sorry guys. Trying to get Eliza back. Hey. Sorry, you dropped out.
Just taking it one step at a time. Try to make the best of the situation and keep yourself safe out there. And use this time to, do something that you've been doing. Wow, that was not a good sentence.
It happens.
This is what happens when I try to get all wise. It's just not in me. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, make the best of the situation. Definitely use this to your advantage and I think we're in this together, and we're all going to be just fine.
Yeah. And one more thing I do want to remind everyone that right now there's 20 vaccines already being developed and looked at. So scientists are working together. They're on this. We just have to, we have to give ourselves and them some time. So again, do not overload your, healthcare system. I know that one of the things that they were saying is that they don't want to test everyone, because by testing everyone, obviously you're increasing the chance for exposure.
They don't have enough tests.
Well, yeah, but they also don't want to expose other people needlessly, and the thing is if you
If
do,
they don't feel the need to test you guys, that's a good thing. It's not that they're being mean. It's not that they're discriminating. If they don't feel the need to test you after all the training they've been through, that's a good thing, you guys. And like we said earlier, if you do test positive, the same thing still applies. The hospitals can't do anything for you unless you are unable to breathe on your own. That is the line. So, yeah, if you guys, are being tested or not being tested, we just have to trust our healthcare professionals at this point.
Yeah. And also, if any of you have or know anyone that has N95 masks, please, again, donate them to your local hospitals or wherever is fighting this. They need it. You don't need it. They need it. So please be mindful. I also want to get the word out that Hawaii needs some more of those. So if you guys do know anybody, please share that, because we are part of the United States too. There's a lot of people here also. And we have doctors.
Yes, I'd rather be there.
Yeah, well, we have.
I love telling, or just giving awareness, spreading awareness, giving information, and I hope people are. But no one can really control any individual person. It's up to them what they want to do, and I hope that they're being smart. But honestly, if you can't think for yourself and you can't get a hint by all this shit, I do not know what's gonna happen, and that's scary and ridiculous and real. I love spreading awareness and being this public service thing, because our president will not take the spot. But aside from that, I just wanted to, I don't know, we've been doing this for 8 podcasts, 8 recordings, 8 phone calls, or 9, 7, I don't know. But how about let's just talk about a little bit of something fun and ridiculous that I think Aaron and I were talking about earlier. These crazy bridezilla freaks who have their weddings, planned for a year, and it just happens to be their wedding date right now, and they're not listening to anything.
You guys don't know this yet. This is crazy. I'm actually a wedding planner, and I've had to cancel. I've had to cancel 14 weddings. Yeah.
Who is this? Who's speaking?
Nishay.
Nishay. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before you were here. Holy shit.
That's funny. Oh my goodness.
Go on, give us all the juices. This is crazy.
Hey man, I've had a couple juicy ones for sure. I did get fired from 2 because I refused to go to them. They were out of state. And that's why we have contracts. That's why I get 30% down first, you know?
Yeah.
But honestly, for the most part, people, oh my god, my house is haunted. I'm looking at my door and it's opening and closing by itself, you guys. Oh my god, it's the bridezilla coming back to haunt me. Oh wow.
At least you're quarantined.
Right? I'm gonna spray that with Lysol instead of sage.
I think both might work.
Right?
Evil things.
Exactly.
Well, I was talking to Erin, and I was saying that I had a haircut like last week, not knowing the situation going forward. And we were just talking, and she was telling me about this wedding she had to go to, like, this weekend? I think it was this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
And that didn't happen. And it was like a broad thing. And she was fighting with the bride, even though that was her friend. She didn't want to, like, let her down, but at the same time, she's trying to be realistic. Like, really? Should I spend all this money? Should I not cancel my ticket? And she already had bought
honestly,
the dress. Like,
for the
there was
most
a lot.
part, that's the big concern is brides are worried about the money because for the average wedding costs anywhere from $25,000 up to $50,000 right now. And a large percentage of that is going to be your venue and your food. We've been very, very, very blessed that all of our venues that we've worked with are willing to refund the money for that, and they're willing to reschedule for that. And the biggest problem that we're having is with the airlines right now. It took one of my brides, it took her almost 4 hours to get through to someone on United, and that was just going through the automated system and then waiting for someone to pick up. That wasn't talking to someone and then being transferred. That was just waiting for someone to answer the phone. And so, honestly, like, my advice for that right now, don't worry about calling the airlines. They know what's going on. Just don't get on your flight and then deal with it later. Honestly, that's the best way to go about it right now. And as far as brides that are just so dead set on this, you know, I've been telling my brides, I'm like, I will happily go with you to the justice of the peace so that you guys get married, because that's the whole point of it. The whole point is to join your life partner hand in hand and to make those vows to each other. Your dresses, your pictures, your tablecloth colors, or your place napkins and things like that. That's not what you're going to remember. You're going to remember marrying the love of your life when you're supposed to, with those loved ones around you.
And would you really want to get married in a time, in a situation like this, where everyone's stressed?
Yeah. And I've been, one of my friends, her dad works for a pesticide company, and so they have the biohazard outfits. And he was joking. He's like, we can go through with the wedding, but everyone has to wear one of these biohazard outfits.
Oh my gosh, that's what we were just talking about.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Yeah. Erin, where are you?
Yeah.
Oh.
One of the girls.
She's talking about someone she saw with, like, a whole wedding party in Hazard.
Oh, no. We didn't go through with it. The dad was just joking that that's what they were going to have to do.
But it wasn't the only idea. It happened.
Yeah, weddings are actually, some people are still going through with their weddings and having COVID-19 themed weddings where people are wearing gloves and masks and shit in the wedding pictures.
Like, as a theme.
Hey, man, if you're being safe, go for it. That's funny.
It should be thoughtless. I don't know. I mean,
It is. I guess I'm finding humor in it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, like, people are wrong unless you know what's happening and just going against it. Some people actually just aren't informed. People just don't know how serious it is. And I don't know how to shove information down their throats anymore. I mean, every place, every gathering is stopped. So, like, how do you not see this? How do you not want to learn more? How do you not want to know what's going on?
Well,
Be informed. Don't be.
the reason.
I definitely think that everyone realizes what's going on, but God, this is a bad example. When I get nervous, I laugh, and so I think some people might not want to know how serious it is because they know themselves and they know they're going to panic if they look into it, which I know can cause more problems in the long run. But I don't know. I think the more we try to worry,
it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier for sure, and I get that that's not exactly always the safest thing to do, but I think we're at the point now where everyone knows what's going on, but they're going to, some people just are not going to change anything because either they're uncomfortable with it or they just think they'll be fine. And I think that, part of this is going to be natural selection. If they don't want to realize how serious it is, that's on them. And I don't think,
and unfortunately, or I don't mean that, weirdly, like, there's a mix. People don't necessarily die from this. It doesn't mean that people who aren't informed are going to die. It doesn't mean that. It means that they're just going to spread a lot of more viruses if they aren't fatally affected by it, which is going to possibly be fatal to other people that they don't care about, and that's just sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
The good thing here is that the governor has effectively basically sealed the borders of Hawaii. So he's mostly shutting everything down. I mentioned this earlier, like he said that if people are arriving here still for whatever reason, it's mandated that they have a 14-day quarantine. And if they attempt to breach that, they're going to be charged $5,000. If they try it again, they're going to be.
And I know you guys were talking about Florida too earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. I'm so sorry. Continue. I am a horrible person.
No. You're good. You're good.
So much.
You're good.
They are starting to close the beaches down in Florida. I know there was a lot of outrage because of what's going on down there. But they did close a bunch of the major beaches there, and they are starting to hand out very expensive tickets for people, breaking the protocols down there. So that's something to keep in mind too. I know a lot of the regulations are suggestions, unfortunately, until they make it an official law in all states. It is a state-by-state thing, and the state of Florida does have the right to have a different type of policy, unfortunately, and so that's why they've been able to stay open like this. But another thing, too, that I've heard from a friend that lives in Florida, yes, there was a lot of spring breakers down there, but all of the businesses, like all the restaurants for dine-in, are closed. So they are following particular protocols down there. It's not that the whole state is just doing whatever it wants. but they are starting to close beaches. They're starting to hand out tickets for people breaking quarantine. So I think they were just a little bit behind, and I know a lot of states were scared because they rely on tourism to keep them afloat.
Yeah, that's why Hawaii was. That's why it was such a big thing in Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah. And so while it's so easy for us to get mad at them for continuing to do whatever, I think they were just afraid. And a lot of businesses, too, guys, not even just in Florida, but statewide, some of them, they're never going to be able to open their doors again. Unfortunately, like the salon that my mom works at in Colorado, they got hit so hard and business was so slow, they weren't able to pay their bills. So unfortunately, after the quarantine is done, the business is done as well. So think about that too, that this isn't just to be mean. This isn't just an overreaction. Our government has taken this all into consideration, and unfortunately, this is going to hit really hard all over. So definitely look up. Definitely still try to support your small businesses if you can. They are mostly all doing like online orders or to-go orders for food places, but I know there's a lot of businesses that are taking extra precautions in order to stay open when all of this is done. But yeah, anyways, I just want to say that Florida is starting to shut down, so that's a good sign. They're starting to abide by the laws that they're having to go by, finally.
Good. Florida's a difficult state to get to,
control of.
Trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think that we definitely, all of us on this conversation, we don't have to apologize for talking over each other. But I am sorry if I talk over anybody, but we know that we're not speaking maliciously. We're not trying to win a competition here. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, I just know I'm so bad about it sometimes. Yeah, I think this podcast has brought us all together in a really amazing way. And just for all the listeners out there, if you didn't know already, we're all separated. We're not even in the same state as each other. So
yeah,
that's kind of amazing, Exactly. Yeah. And I think it helps too to get reliable sources when we're not all speaking from the same area. We can show the different regions and how each place is being affected differently, which is hard because as soon as you flick on the news, no, you're fine. As soon as you flick on the news, it's going to say region by region what's happening, or, across the states this is happening, but we can actually give you our word of what's happening in our areas. So that's really cool in itself.
In a very unbiased way. Like, we did not even know each other until recently, until these podcasts, really. So
thank you, Sam, for bringing us together.
You're welcome.
We don't know each other that well, so we're only telling each other everything on face value. Like, we're just speaking the truth. There's no filters or bias to this thing. We could have different political views. We could be, we're maybe possibly totally different people, but we find here that we think alike, and thank God we have the same ideas about how to prepare for this, or what we're doing, and
that's the whole point that Sam wanted us to do.
Yeah.
He's a good judge of character for sure. Like, super good.
And one more thing too is that so there is a company right now that is in phase 3 in treatment for the coronavirus. So it says remdesivir is being studied in 5 clinical trials around the world. In China, Gilead is recruiting about 1,000 patients diagnosed with the coronavirus to determine whether multiple doses of remdesivir can reverse the infection. The primary goals are reducing fever and helping patients get out of the hospital within 2 weeks. And as we've heard before, China was using chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine, as well as South Korea, I believe, and they've pretty much lowered dramatically the amount of coronavirus cases in their countries.
That's good.
So
that's awesome.
Keep that in mind. We're seeing unprecedented levels of progress being made in the medical community right now.
Yeah, guys, we really are headed in the right direction. I know it's getting rough for some of you out there, but we're getting through this slowly but surely.
There is light. There is light. You just have to look for it. And
join a conversation, get informed, meet some new people.
Yeah.
Get creative.
We're gonna be. My sense is that soon we will have an answer, and soon people around the world are going to be able to emerge from their homes, bask in the sunlight together once again, and
Sammy, be more realistic. It's not going to be for a while. Yes, eventually, but it's not going to be next week. It's not going to be next month.
No, but
it could be. I think our situation is going to improve. We probably have a couple more weeks of being quarantined, but honestly, the prediction right now, according to CDC, is their goal is within the next 30 to 60 days to to get people going back to normal, which I know sounds like a long time, but just having that goal in mind is great. And I think with the progress that Sam is mentioning, and obviously the progress that you think is happening too, like with just people themselves, guys, I think we're gonna struggle a little bit more, but we're still headed in the right general direction.
We're gonna be
I'm hoping
all right.
it's not months. Yeah.
In the long run, we're gonna be all right. But there's gonna be a lot of bumps and scrapes and a lot of casualties and a lot of numbers going high. And it's going to be very alarming, but you have to think in the sense that this virus has been here for at least a month. And in cities where people are rampantly just passing between each other, that number is going to grow crazy. So no wonder we're seeing it in New York. Also, little smaller areas or less populated areas, not lesser, smaller, but with a lesser population, a smaller population, you're not going to see the test results. You're not going to probably even get the test in those kind of situations, or they're going to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing these large numbers because of the tests, and we know that we don't have enough tests. So we have an idea of what we're looking at, but we really don't know, and we need to assume the worst. And the worst is that this is here, and think like everyone is basically exposed. And a lot of people aren't affected. A lot of people will be sick. A lot of people will have it, and it becomes a critical situation, and a lot of deaths. This is happening. There's no way of saying no, and and putting a cover over your head. Like, know what you're dealing with, be informed, talk about it, share your feelings, be mentally stable in this crazy situation, which I suggest by talking about it really helps. And so thank you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's why, if I can help anybody in the slightest, that's why I'm going to keep doing this. So again, those of you who are going to listen to this later, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. We love you. And we have to stay united. We have to stay hopeful. Don't lose sight of hope. That's very important. And your mental health is also important. So again, do what you can. That whatever helps you feel comfortable. So long as it doesn't involve going over to your friend's house or something like that. But there's a lot of amazing things right now out there. People have been posting videos of, how to cook amazing things. There are also people have been posting like just creative videos. There's a lot of creativity happening right now, and I think that's amazing too. That we should also, keep that in mind.
Absolutely. What you do in the privacy of your home isn't less than because it's not as, other people aren't seeing it. It's still doing something. Like, I'd love to know what you guys did today so that I can, see where I fall in the category of, I don't know, are we all just, what are we doing today?
Well, for me, my creativity has been doing this podcast thing. I see it as a type of therapy for me too. And I feel better when I do it because I know that there's people out there that are maybe they're bored and they want to listen to something, so I give them that. And it's also just it's just fun doing new things. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing. How about you guys? What are you doing creative-wise?
Well, like I said, I spent a bunch of money at Michael's, the craft store.
Mm-hmm.
And I am currently mixing up my paint palette. I got a brand new 24-pack of acrylic paint. And I got some cute little wooden figurines that I'm going to paint. And I'm going to start another project for my kitchen. I'm obsessed with pineapples, and that's what my kitchen theme is right now, for pineapples. So I'm going to make a banner of little, hard to explain, the happy birthday banners that say happy birthday. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the letters, hanging.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to make one of those of, I'm going to say, welcome to our home, and they're going to be in the shapes of pineapples. And so I have a huge 300-page book of scrapbook paper, and I'm going to cut out the shapes of the letters and the pineapples and those that match our kitchen colors, and hang that on our big wall in our kitchen. So I'm going to craft.
Awesome, possum.
So,
Yeah.
And what about you, Eliza? What have you been doing?
I have a smorgasbord of things. Also because my home is very dirty. So I'm cleaning my home. And I went to my local flower shop yesterday. I don't know why I said flower, but I did. And I went to the shop and it was closing. And they were selling, they were trying to clear out their inventory because I guess they didn't want to be in the city to look after the plants even though the store was closing. So they were clearing out the place, and I bought a whole bunch of plants on clearance, and it was amazing. So I potted them all, just sort of doing that and rearranging where my plants are. But I think this goes with rearranging your space in any sense. It's so interesting and fun to figure out what new ways you can experience your same space by just changing little things. So
yep.
Fun.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah. And also, I have a I thought I had a final today, but it turns out that it's the slow of the week, so I have that.
Oh,
yay! Yeah, because I emailed him. I was like, Jesus, I don't even know. I wanted to put my all into this, but can't. These are stressful times.
What are you going to school for? Because I actually didn't even know you were in school.
Oh, I started, not really, it's not a matriculating course, just an introductory course to a I'm interested in interior design. And before, applying to schools, I wanted to see what it's all about. And, yeah, all of this happened. So,
yay, that's cool.
I want
that's
to
really
keep
exciting.
that idea going, and I think the plants help a little bit for me to be creative in my limited space, keeping me sane. And I love these conversations because even though we're not getting answers, it's really helpful to talk it out, whatever I'm going through. And not only that, hearing other people going through similar things or just struggling in general, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad we can definitely help and come together in that sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it for this part. So
What time is it for you?
it's 4:35 right now.
It is 10:35 here in Tennessee.
Oh yeah, same here. What do you have the whole day left then?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you have planned? Tell us your days.
Might take a nap.
I was going to say, I know you're going to take a nap and maybe go for a walk and then work on another podcast.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Or maybe
Do you
I'll.
guys still have rabbits? Because I would totally be playing with rabbits right now.
Yeah, they're in the front. They're actually our tenants.
So cute, so fluffy.
Sorry, guys.
Train a rabbit. I don't know. I don't know if it's been done. I don't know if it's possible, but you can probably figure it out. You have a lot of time. Actually, no. Your dogs might eat it.
Yeah. I might do some writing. I was working on before everything happened. I was working on a book that's sort of like a it's a fan's take on if there's any gamers out there that are listening, it's my take on the Destiny universe. I have my own original character in there, and it's like a mystery horror / sci-fi fantasy romance thing that I'm going for.
Interesting.
With it. Yeah, so I got the first couple chapters done, but I haven't worked on it for a while, so maybe I'll dive back into that.
Oh shit! Because of what you just said, I got an idea for doing lists of my best movies for a genre. Like, okay, scary movies, list 5. Comedies, list 5. That'd be fun. Or, like, you can do that with music, you can do that with movies, you can do it with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And it helps people to get, like, entertained by things in these desperate times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know. We can only do so much. We can only wash our hands, control the amount of people we see, control our socializing, and then the rest, yeah. Luckily, thank God this happened at a time where, like, no, it's happened in the past, but this happened at a time where most of our lives, truthfully, were online. And so now they all are.
Yeah.
Yep, and also the fact that we have modern medicine, to our understanding of modern medicine, to because guys, back in the day, you know, when influenza was sweeping through, a lot of things were, you know, really uncertain back then, but now, you know, we have a lot of resources at our disposal. There's a lot of, you know, databases for scientific journals that have been published, and, you know, other scientists can see that, and we are in a lot, like, a farther a better way than we were like 100 years ago. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So again, we will get through this. Just hang on, stay calm. You know, be with your family. Don't go out. And
stay safe, stay sane, and stay happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm going to be, again, uploading this to YouTube and my SoundCloud. I think you guys got that already. It's soundcloud.com/The Unity Podcast. YouTube is Electric Panda 808. And by the way, you guys still haven't subscribed. What the hell?
I have to YouTube.
Yeah, you have. But these two.
I will do that right now.
And oh, hang on. Let me get her. Sorry, guys, dropped again.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. So I was saying that you and Nashay have to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
And
Are we still on the podcast thing?
Yeah.
How was I disconnected again?
Not that long.
It makes me feel iffy because if I can't get signal to you guys, like, panic. I don't know.
Well, we'll be okay. You'll be okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I am officially subscribed.
Thank you. And yeah, my SoundCloud too. And share that if you can. It'll help greatly.
Of course.
But yeah, to anyone who stopped in the live stream, I'll check you out later. Tomorrow, maybe I'll come back again later tonight. I don't know. But yeah, just stay positive, stay healthy. We'll all get through it. All right.